Hi, today's video I'm going to chat to you about going to the Knitting and Stitching show last Thursday and share with you the few bits and pieces that I bought there. So stay tuned. Hi, welcome back to my channel, the Bag Maker Society. My name's Deb and I make videos on all things bag making, as well as running my bag making supply business here in the UK called Handmade Makes. So today's video I thought I'd sort of share with you me going to the Knitting and Stitching show last week and the few things that I bought there. It was a little bit of a last minute plan. I didn't plan to go until sort of about 5 days before I went down. I'd been down in London the week beforehand with my mum and my daughter, attending the post office inquiry. So I was like, yeah, I just can't kind of fit it in. And do I want to be travelling down to London twice in 2 weeks? It's quite away from where I live, especially when we went down the week before last, because I actually drove, which scared the living bejeebers out of me, but I did it. It was fine. Obviously we stopped North London, so we didn't tackle the major part of London, and I was very pleased to find out that my car was actually ULEZ exempt, so that was a bonus as well. So yes, I didn't actually think I'd be able to sort of squeeze it in. And then as we were driving out, I didn't actually realise how close that it was that we were staying. It was to Alexandra Palace. We were sort of staying, I think it's called Manor House, just past Finsbury Park. And I didn't realise sort of like how close it was. And as we were driving out of London, sat navs telling me I needed to turn right, but it was kind of two right turns and I couldn't work out which one was which, so I took sort of the most right turn, which turned out to be the wrong turn, but did actually take me past Alexandra Palace. I sort of ended up driving around it and then having to turn around and come back down to where I was. But I was like, that's a sign. And yeah, that's a sign that I should be going. The building was just absolutely beautiful. I was saying to my mum and my daughter, like, take some pictures in case I don't get to go. So they were taking pictures out of the car window as I was driving past, kind of really slowly, so that they could get a decent picture. And there was obviously some event going on there that day as well, because there was sort of like marshals around the venue. They were obviously looking like, what's this mad woman in a little Fiat 500 doing? Yeah, so anyway, kind of when I got back, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go. So I did just go down for the day. So it was a long day, left really early on the morning, got back, didn't get back till 12:30, which, I mean, that's well past my witching hour. I was literally nodding off on the train coming back. So thankfully my train only ended the stop after I was getting off at. I did sort of worry about ending up in Edinburgh or Glasgow because I'd fell asleep, but that didn't happen. But it was a fantastic day. I absolutely loved it. Like I say, even though it was a really long day, I was absolutely shattered. It took me a good few days to kind of recover. It was so worth it. So I met up with Emma from Studio 77, who you'll know, we're really good friends. So I knew that she was going on the Thursday. So that's why I kind of timed it to go on the Thursday. And I also met up with Maria, who you'll know was on my podcast a few weeks ago. We've sort of kept in touch, become quite friendly. So it was really lovely to meet her in person. And if I haven't already, I'll insert a couple of pictures that we took while we were there. I also bumped into Mel, who has also been on the podcast, and that was lovely to see her in real life again. So yeah, it was a lovely day. We did lots of wandering around, had a quick look at some of the quilts that were on display there, but mostly we walked around the exhibitors, the vendors. It was so big, and obviously the building is gorgeous. It's, you know, right up my street, stained glass windows, historic. Yeah, it's something that will always float my boat. I absolutely love history and beautiful buildings, so it was fantastic to go, as well as spend some time with people who I really like. So I did kind of tell myself that I needed to sort of not buy a ridiculous amount of things, because obviously I had to get them back into London and back on the train and what have you. Plus, I don't really need lots of fabric or anything, and I am supposed to be on a little bit of a buy-in ban and work through my stash. But yeah, I did buy a little bit of fabric and a few other bits and pieces as well. So anybody again who follows me will know I have an absolute love affair with Quilted Bear. I love their things. I love their rulers. I love all the sort of, I'm a sucker for a gadget. I'm a real sucker for a gadget. So obviously, you know, they have lots of useful tools and what have you. So that was definitely on my to visit list. I didn't buy any rulers. Shock horror. I do normally come away from visiting things like that with rulers, but I didn't this time. But I did get one of the little mini silicone presses, silicone iron stands. I've got a bigger one that I use. I'm saying I use when I actually put my big iron onto iron clothes, which is rare. I need to do some of that today. But I do actually have a bigger one of these for when I'm doing a grown-up thing and ironing my clothes. And I love it. It just makes ironing so much easier. I'm not having to faff on, put my iron up on the stand. I can just put it down. And I thought a small one for in here, because I only use a little mini iron in here. Obviously with predominantly making bags, I don't need a really big iron in here. So I just use sort of like a little small travel iron, and I thought this would be perfect, and it was only a few pound, so I bought one of these. And then the last time I was there, I was eyeing up the little 18mm rotary cutter. A little bit like my addiction to rulers, I have a little bit of an addiction to rotary cutters as well. I have quite a few, and I do love the Quilted Bear ones. And I use my 28mm rotary cutter quite a bit, especially for sort of tight corners, you know, cutting out little smaller bits, you know, like box corners. It's much easier to cut out with a smaller rotary cutter than a big rotary cutter. And I did eye it up at the Festival of Quilts, and I was like, how much will I use it? And then decided not to buy it, so I bought it this time. So yeah, so I bought the 18mm ruler, and I also bought a spare blade as well while I was there, because I knew I would need one relatively soon, and I thought, save myself a little bit of postage, I will buy it while I'm there. And then I also bought some Best Press, which I have been using, hence why it's not full. It didn't come like this. I did drop the bag that held all of my goodies as I got onto the bus back to the train station. Typical me. I mean, if there's a calamity going to happen, it'll be me. So as I put my bag down on the seat, I just totally missed, and it went on the floor, and the cap obviously smashed, so it leaked. Thankfully, it only leaked a tiny little bit. And you get the spray with like the spray head with it. So I just quickly sort of put the spray head on it, hoped that it didn't leak with the spray head on, which it doesn't, so it was fine, because I did have images of me sort of carrying this through London and back on the, you know, having it on the table so that it didn't leak anywhere, but it was fine. Once I put the spray head on, it was no problem. And like you say, you can see I've used it a fair bit since I got back last week. I do love this stuff. I do have a smaller bottle that I bought. I think I bought that at the Stitch Festival. I've had it quite a while, and it's kind of only got a tiny little bit left in it. But I do use it an awful lot, because I spray and press my fabrics before I cut out. just to kind of bring about any shrinkage that might happen. Obviously, as a bag maker, I don't really pre-wash my fabrics for bag making, but by sort of steam pressing the fabrics, if it is going to shrink, that will sort of like bring about any shrinkage. So, and I do like to use the best press to do that, because it kind of helps stiffen the fabric ever so slightly, and I just find it makes cutting out a little bit easier. So they were what I got from Quilted Bear. And then I bought some fabrics, and I think these came from Roy's World, and I bought these very, very late on in the day. I was very proud of myself that I hadn't bought any more fabrics. That was just going to go into my stash and sit there for ages, because I am on a mission to work through my ridiculous amount of fabrics that I have. But yeah, I saw these and I was like, I've got to get them. They were very reasonably priced. Cotton poplin, which I love for bag linings. I like how nice and soft it is. I like that it's a little bit more drapey than sort of some of the quilting cottons. So I do use cotton poplin quite a bit. And it was only £7 a metre. And you'll see there's a little bit of a theme in all the fabrics that I bought. So these have actually already been all pressed, so that is why they look all nice and neat. So I bought this fabric, obviously blue leaf print. I am an absolute sucker for a leaf print, so I bought this one, and then I spied that they had it in green, and we all know how much I love green, so I bought that one as well. So, and then as I was chatting to him, I sort of said, I love leaf print. It's, I'm an absolute sucker for it. And he said, oh, there's a couple more, and they were sort of further down. And so we pulled these out. And these are all the sort of same design, just on different colourways. So this is sort of on a black background with lots of sort of like leaves and little flowers, and I have quite a lot of beige and brown leathers and faux vinyls that I want to use up, so I thought this would work really well with those as a lining or as a contrast. When it's interfaced, it can obviously be used on an exterior as well. So I bought that one, and then they also had it on the green background, so I bought a metre of that. And again, I think I've got a lot of green vinyls that this would work with, but it'll work really well with a lot of the beige and browns that I have. And then they also had it on a blue colourway as well, which I just absolutely love. I do, blues and greens are sort of like my favourite colours. Definitely green. Green will always be top of my list, but I do love blues as well. So those were the 5 fabrics that I bought from Roy's World. I'll put links in the description box down below. So yeah, I was really pleased with what I got, and that I didn't go mad. I did go to Rainbow Fabrics because there'd been a fabric at Festival of Quilts that I regretted not buying, but they didn't have any out on display, and there wasn't any in the remnants as well. So I was a little bit devastated about that, because if they'd had any, I would have bought that. And it's not on their website anymore either. So yeah. So then that was on Thursday, and then on Sunday there was also a quilt show near where I live, and I thought, oh, I'm going to go and visit that, see what that one's like. It was obviously a much smaller show, but it was on, I think, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so I went on the Sunday. It was really quite nice. I liked the fact that it was a little bit smaller. There was more stalls there than what I thought there was going to be, so it was a bit bigger than what I was expecting, but obviously nowhere near on the scale of the likes of the Knitting and Stitching show, or Festival of Quilts, that sort of thing. So I'll put a link in the description to the organisers who run those, because they run them all over I think the Newcastle show was probably one of the smaller ones because it is the first time that they've run it. I don't know how big any of the other events are that they run because I haven't attended any of them. But I did like the fact that the Newcastle one was, it was a little bit smaller. It wasn't, we're there a good few hours, but we didn't need all day to get round and see everything. So I did buy some fabric when I was there. I did sort of have a couple of things that I need to get that I thought if any of the stores there sell them, I'll order them there rather than online or on Amazon. But I couldn't see any of the few bits and pieces that I needed. But I did see this. And again, I'm a sucker for green and I'm a sucker for leaf print, but I'm also a sucker for Highland cows. I absolutely love anything with Highland cow on them. So when I saw this fabric, I thought I've got to have a little bit of that. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to use it for, but this is going to be like a total selfish me. So it's going to be something that I want, that I'll use, and yeah, this will be used for that. And they did have little labels that went with them as well. So I got two labels. A little Highland cow with a little duck or goose. I'm not sure. I think it might be a duck. But how cute's that? So I've got two of those. So hopefully I'll get two makes out of my fabric. So yeah. And then I did also, it randomly had a shoe stall there, which, I'm a little bit of a sucker for shoes as well. And they were selling a brand of boots called Heavenly Feet, and I do own a pair of them already and I absolutely love them. They're so comfortable. They're a green leaf embossed boot, so you won't be shocked at that one. But I do absolutely love them. I wear them all the time. They are so comfortable, they're so warm. So they were selling the same brand of boot, so I got a little bit excited, and they had quite a few there that I absolutely loved, and I had some that had like they were grey or blue and they had sort of flowers all over them, and I did really love them, and they were what drew me first. But I was sort of, how often would I wear those ones, and would they go with things that I would wear? And I thought, possibly not. And then further down they had some velvet boots, and I fell in love with this pair. So yeah, I absolutely fell in love with these boots. Um, I mean, what's not to love? Um, Rainbow, all the colours that I really love: green, blue, and I love purple. Particularly since getting the bag makers box last month, I have an even deeper love for purple. But yeah, I just absolutely loved them. I just couldn't resist. I was a little bit worried about them being velvet and them, if I was out and it started raining or what have you, but they're waterproof, so they don't, they'll be fine. So I couldn't resist. But I do know that I'll wear them all of the time because I wear my other boots all of the time, especially coming into the winter. I know they'll get a lot of use. And, who doesn't go to a sewing show and come away with a pair of boots? So that is my haul from the two quilting sewing shows that I've been to this last week. I should say that this fabric came from Elmhurst Fabrics. I'll link everything in the description box down below, so if anybody wants to check out Quilted Bear, Roy's World, Elmhurst Fabrics, or Heavenly Feet boots, because I do highly recommend them. I think Shoe Zone sell a limited amount of them as well, but they are obviously online too. So I hope you've enjoyed my little walkthrough of all of the things that I've treated myself to, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have enjoyed the video, please do give it a like. It will really help the YouTube algorithm, help my videos be seen by people who haven't come across me yet. And if you want to see more videos on bag making, please do subscribe to my channel. And until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye.